Hello, Talk Funders. Today we're talking to Arthur from ZoopScoop. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good. Okay. Arthur, we'll just go straight into looking at your excellent campaign video about the ZoopScoop, the intelligent scooping system, which is live on Indiegogo. Just press play here, Arthur, and we'll just go into full screen. So we'll just talk our way through the video here, Arthur. I just loved at the start of it. You really are going for solutions right at the very start, because you're talking about spillage, you're talking about stickiness, and talking about dirty hands. And the hassle, whether it's baby food or fitness products or cooking, the real hassle that people have of actually scooping the product out of their plastic or glass jars and getting it to where they want it to be. So that really is, in essence, really is about what the ZoopScoop is all about. Is that right, Arthur?
That's right. Well, I had initially when we were creating the video, were sort of two different ways of approaching the problem and inviting people to watch the video. So one of them was to present people with the solutions, but I thought that it would have been better to present people with the issues they might have, so that they can relate better to the product further down the line when they see what solutions we propose and offer for those problems. And spillage, stickiness, dirty hands is sort of like I think what everyone can relate to, because your common normal scoops that are provided with the products are usually have very short handles. They haven't really any dispensing. They haven't got any dispensing mechanisms. They are mostly very sort of not very convenient to use. And in our product in ZoopScoop, we provide sort of an all-in-one solution to your common powder problems. And the applications are endless when it comes to any sort of powders, potentially also different powders, not necessarily in the food area, but also different industries.
Wow, and this is just example of some of those areas of protein formula, etc. And I suppose a lot of young men who are into their bodybuilding, etc., would identify with this.
I think nowadays it's not only young men; it's a lot of people using supplements, and there is so much food that's powdered. There is so many superfoods that are in powder as well, and so we decided to come up with a solution, because also as we were. The idea originates from a supplement powder, and from the annoyance that the usage of the small scoop provided with the powder would cause to me and my co-founder. But then further down the line, we found out that there's a huge opportunity in the baby formula market, in the coffee market, in baking, sort of kitchenware space. So the deeper I went, the more opportunities I saw, which is obviously a good thing with a product, and because that gives you more ideas and more. So I think a lot more people can relate to it. It just depends. It just depends where you take people to with their imagination, and what sort of content you present them with, and what sort of message you send across.
And I think throughout the video, you really do highlight the different uses that you can put the ZoopScoop to. And I love a way that just all the measurements are done on the side of the container. Can you talk a little bit about how you measure those different sizes? I know there's difference maybe in different countries, etc.
This year, what you see is a 3D animation, which is, by the way, very well done by our partners. And this is sort of the first version where we only had the milliliters on the scoop. Now, ever since then, we sort of evolved, listened to our backers on Kickstarter, also our followers on social media. And it came up, we had quite a significant amount of backers from the US. And obviously US, they're using a different metric system, which for volume would be for powders, ounces, or fluid ounces, if you will. So ever since then, we also included the ounces on the opposite side of the scoop. So this was designed so that we assume that most people are right-handed, because that's the case. So when you hold the scoop, that you can look at the measurements, from the actual front, and not So that was a thing to consider. And then we also have so that's on the left hand side of the scoop are going to be the milliliters. On the right hand side, you're going to have your tablespoons, which is obviously different measurements from the small and the large size of the ZoopScoop. Now the small scoop is 25 milliliters from the red paddle up to the top of the scoop. And the large one is 70, which goes in, the 70 goes in 10 milliliter increments. Now the measuring is, as we found out during testing, so we purchased a lot of different powdered supplements, etc. And you found out that you can save up to 25% of your powder per serving, because the commonality between the different companies was that we found out that they would scoop up to 25% more powder than their recommended serving size, meaning that you would, after each 4th serving, you would have served one more. So with ours, you hopefully can save the money as well. So, and the measuring is just way more exact and detailed, just because you can look at the sides of the scoop and you can dispense it way more exact than with the, with just flipping it over and tapping it out to a container. Hence why as the ZoopScoop is just way more exact in measurements, and yeah, so that's pretty much it.
I never would have thought about that. It's actually over time, you're saving yourself money, I suppose, because you're scooping less. It's much more precise. Fantastic. Yes. And this is just running through. You're also putting a shout out to different powder companies of whatever variety in the video.
Yes, and that has been very successful, actually. So one of the reasons why we decided to do a Kickstarter campaign was not only the fundraising, which is the obvious reason, but also the PR and the marketing that we would get out of it. And what happened was the shout out was actually very very successful, because we had quite a few powder companies getting in touch, and also we had some markets that we discovered through the Kickstarter campaign. For example, I had way over 20 distribution companies from Japan getting in touch and willing to work with us and distribute the product in Japan. I had someone this morning getting in touch from Canada. I had someone getting in touch from the US. I had someone getting in touch from Poland. So large companies that are interested in either distributing, licensing, or in any other form, working with us and representing the brand in any sort of shape and form. So it's been an interesting thing to see that there is a need, and people and companies actively are looking for ways to also, which we haven't talked about yet, but to reduce their environmental impact and to try and get the reusability component and the more sort of environmentally friendly component into their products. And with the ZoopScoop, the only way we're going to be able to drive change at scale is to work with large powder companies if they substitute the one single-use scoop, which you could argue our single-use as well if you put it in every powder. But our goal is to just have one for a number of tubs of protein powder or whatever whatever powder you use. You'll buy just one scoop and you can reuse forever, and that will make a huge impact, because according to our research, there's over 3 billion scoops that land in landfills every single year. So that's a significant amount of plastic that is unaccounted for in all the the plastic bottles and etc. But no one really thinks about scoops.
Well, it's very exciting, very exciting time for ZoopScoop and yourself, Arthur, with all these really interests on an individual level, but also on a company level as well. And we'll look also at that and also the environmental impact that you're really seeking to do with the ZoopScoop in the deep dive interview. So just to finish off the main interview, we can just go down to the different pledges. I think you were saying, there's an early bird is still in place. And I think this one here, which is the set one, which gives you the small and the large together. Is it really?
Yes, I think that's sort of the main, the early bird Zoop set, which is still available. It's sort of a good range. I mean, I'm saying range, but we have two different sizes, so it makes a range, I suppose. But so for different powders, you will want to use different sizes of the scoop. You know, for example, the small one gives you the perfect amount of coffee for an Italian espresso. So that would, you know, and you have a lot of portable coffee devices that would need that really exact measurement dispensing, and also the portability of it means that you can bring it with you wherever you go. So I think the two Zoops, the sort of the Zoop set, so the two Zoop scoops, the two different sizes, are the ones to go with.
And
but obviously, if you want to order more, we're always happy when people order more.
I'm sure, and you're very generous, you know, for the early bird. So it's 44% off, folks. So get along to Indiegogo quick and snap up the early birds. And then also, as you were mentioning, you might have other larger organizations, larger companies. You can actually buy, and you know, there's cases of 5, 15, 25, 50, 150. Up to 1,000. So
that's 1,000 scoops, and the previous ones were more sort of sets, right? So you had 300 for this price, etc. So yeah, that's essentially what it is.
And I'd just like to finish off the main interview and just take it back up to the top here and thank Arthur from ZoopScoop, the intelligent scooping system, which is live on Indiegogo. All the links will be in the video description below. Thank you very much, Arthur, my friend. Thank you.